This is how I think The Last of Us will end indefinitely, if it ever does. I think it will have to do with Ellie sacrificing her life to save millions. This is like if Naughty Dog just decides maybe they make a few more games or whatever, and they really just decide to end it with Ellie. That's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot of other options that they could make and a lot of other games they could make off this. I've thought about a lot of that. I'll make another video about that later. But I think that ultimately The Last of Us it will end with Ellie if it ever does end indefinitely. I think that she will sacrifice her life. The game between that point will probably be build up emotionally to that point, but it'll probably kind of lag on about how she'll be going to war with someone or some entity or something. And then at some point it will come down to where she will make a choice, what's all this for if it's not for a cure? And then she'll end up, or maybe Dina's son will get bit and there's just no other way for him to survive but to have a cure. And maybe she'll just realize that, what is her life really? What does her life mean? Is it just all about fighting? And I think that's what she learned when she took on Abby in the last part of the game on the part two. I think she just realized that Joel had, lived his life in survival, and that's all he really did. And after Sarah, and he just kind of, you know, he kind of lived his life like that, killing and maiming people, innocent or bad. It didn't matter, and he did it all for survival. And when she was taking on Abby, she realized that that was his whole life, and she just didn't want it to be hers. And she realized what, he was talking about. So she decided to let Abby go. I think that's kind of why she let Abby go, in a sense. That's why I said I think that them two are connected as warriors and as people and as soldiers. I think that's why, And plus, I'll touch base on a lot of other things about that because I think that kind of that connection is very interesting. But I think that's ultimately how The Last of Us will end if it does. Because I think the other characters need a game too, sort of, kind of. Uh, but yeah, I think she'll sacrifice her life. Like I said, maybe Dina's son gets sick and there's no other way. Maybe that happens. And she just gotta, she's gotta hand her life over to the Fireflies or whatever corporation is trying to make it cure. Maybe to set things right. Maybe to say she's sorry to Abby for doing what she did. I mean, I don't know, but I think that might be how it ends. It's like a correction of things or um, maybe a redemption thing, but it's definitely not how I want The Last of Us to end. I don't. I mean, if you guys watched the video before, you know how I want it to end. But I think this is how Naughty Dog will let it end if they do. There's other ways that I've thought about, but this might be the main one. But let's just hope it's not the next game. For God's sakes, please. I don't want to play that like that. But yeah, I think that's how it will ultimately end. That it could end. Because Naughty Dog, with the first and second installment, they played upon people's emotions. And I mean, they did a good job of doing it. But yeah, I leave you with that. I think that's a good, I think that's an ideal anyway. So, but thank you.